Hi, my name is Kamar Jaffrey, and in this video I will show you how to install a DNS server on a OES2015 server. I will start by showing you how to install and configure DNS bind package using YAST, then show you how to download DNSDHCP Java Management Console, which is used to set up DHCP and DNS servers, followed by a setup of a basic DNS server, which will include creating a DNS server object, 3 zones. One will be a primary zone and 2 inner wrapper zones for reverse lookup. We will also create few DNS records for the zones. Prerequisite for this video is that OES 2015 server has eDirectory installed and running. Here we have a OES 2015 server with eDirectory already installed and running. Let's start by launching YAST. On the left side panel, click on Open Enterprise Server and then OES Install and Configure. On the software selection page, click the Novell DNS box and then Accept. On the OES server configuration screen, enable Reconfigure for Novell DNS Services and then click on Novell DNS Service. Enter the admin password and click OK. By default, the IP address of the default LDAP server for this service and the context of the NCP server is displayed. If there are more than one server in the tree, ensure that the server you select has a master replica or a read-write replica of eDirectory. Click Next. Here we have an OES common proxy user which was created when the server was installed. This proxy user is used to authenticate to eDirectory and to get DNS information from eDirectory. Keep the CASA button checked and click Next. Here we have 3 important DNS objects which will be created. They are used to give rights, contain list of DNS zones and root servers. If this is not the first DNS server in the tree, you should use the existing objects by checking Get Context Information from Existing DNS Server. Click Next. Here we have an option to create a DNS server object. For this video, we will use the Java console to create the server object. So let's leave it unchecked. Click Next. And then Next again. Click Finish. We have just finished installing the DNS bind package. To download the DNSDHCP Java console, bring up a browser and then enter the IP address of the server. This will bring you to the OES server welcome page. Click on Client Software, scroll down, and here we have choice of either using Windows Java or Linux. For this video, we will choose Windows. Click on it to download. Save it to a folder. Okay. Then extract the file and launch Java console by clicking on DNSDHCP.exe. Enter the IP address and the username. context, and the password. Accept the certificate. That should bring up the Java console. When you first launch the Java console, the only object you see is the root server info object that contains a list of root servers. Let's start by creating a DNS server object. Here's a create button, click on it, choose DNS server, OK. Browse to the NCP server object, OK. Give it a name, and put in the zone name that you will be creating. Hit the create button, and here's the server object. Now we will create 3 zone objects. One primary zone for forward lookup, that is from name to IP address resolution, and 2 in-adapter zones for reverse lookup, that is from IP address to name resolution. Okay, start by hitting the create button, DNS zone object, call it Novell, okay, and choose the only authoritative DNS server we have. Hit the create button. Now we will create 2 in-adapter zones. Highlight the zone object, hit the create button, zone. It is recommended that you follow the subnet class when creating these zones. So my server is on 147.2, which is class B, and choose the only DNS server, hit the create button. Okay. It is also recommended that you create the in-adapter zone before you start creating A records in the primary zone. The reason, when you create a record in a primary zone and in-adapter zone already exists for that subnet, the PTR record will be created automatically. Let's create the second in-adapter zone. It's a zone in-adapter. This one is class C, so use the first 3 octets and choose the only, hit the create button. Okay, and we're done. Next, we're going to create A records and couple of other sample records. Let's start by creating an A record for the server. Hit the create button, the resource record, IP address 147. Hit the create button, and you will notice that when you created the A record, the PTR record got created automatically. For testing, let's create a couple of other records. Say you have a web server, say www. Okay. W record, and so let's create one more. Let's say you have a mail server. Okay. Mail server 20 and ATR record 20. Since you have a mail server, you will also need an MX record, which is created under the zone big @ symbol. Hit the create button, other, MX. Give it a preference that is used if you have more than one mail server. Do tree refresh. And here's the mail record. If you want novell.com to resolve to an IP address, then you can create a record for that. It also goes under the big @ symbol. Hit the create button, resource, and put in the IP address. Want to resolve it to the server. Hit create. Sometimes if it doesn't show up, you just do a refresh. And there we have it. For testing, we use a simple utility called nslookup. At the server terminal, type in nslookup. Okay, then type in server to see which server you're pointing to. Okay, change it to your server. Okay, let's check novell.com. Resolves and www.novell.com. Correct. OES2015. Let's check reverse lookup. So type in the IP address. Okay. And last one. Okay. But yep, looks good. Just type in exit to exit. Here are some path and file locations for the DNS server. Okay, in the etc op novell named, you'll find all the config file, the database files, and the journal files. Then the log, which is important to troubleshoot, is located in var op novell log named, called name.run. And then if you want to see what the install options were when you were installing, nvl DNS _ OES2015 is the file you have to see under etc sysconfig novell. And then etc sysconfig named is the name server setting file. You can change them from there. Okay, thank you for watching.